Welcome back everybody to another episode of Direct Comparison. In today's episode, we're going to look at the recently released Warcraft 3 Reforged and see how it compares to the original Warcraft 3. For those unfamiliar, Warcraft 3 is a real-time strategy game that released for the PC back in 2002, along with an expansion pack called Two Thrones that released a year later. The title has received several updates since then, including full widescreen support, and is now incorporated directly into Blizzard's Battlenet app. Warcraft 3 Reforged, on the other hand, is a complete remaster of Warcraft 3, with cleaner visuals along with several other changes to help give the game a more modern feel. Since release, the classic Warcraft 3 appears to have been incorporated directly into Warcraft 3 Reforged, and can be accessed by toggling an option in the Visuals menu. So, for today's video, I wanted to demonstrate some of the biggest changes that have been made to the visual style, along with an audio demonstration to showcase what exactly Blizzard has changed. For reference, both games are being played on the PC platform with their settings running at the highest values at a 1440p resolution. So to kick this comparison off, let's look at a few of the character models, starting with the standard human footman. As you can clearly see, the character models have improved dramatically over the course of the past 18 years, with significantly more polygons, higher resolution textures, more advanced animation work, and greater detail overall. Various proportions of things like limbs now appear more realistic, yet still retain the exaggerated armor features unique to the Warcraft series. This becomes even more clear when looking at the character Arthas, whose character model now sports a great deal more detail, with more gold trim along his armor plating, and more decorative hammer, and a facial model that more accurately matches the character portrait displayed in the UI. Speaking of which, the UI and character portraits have also seen a complete overhaul, with sharper textures, superior lighting, and more advanced animations, bringing it more in line with the quality shown in Blizzard's more recent RTS, StarCraft 2. These enhancements can be found with each and every object and character model in the game, with the visual style falling more in line with the popular World of Warcraft series, which greatly helps to make the overall experience more cohesive for fans of the series. Reforged even includes completely brand new character models to help enhance the variety, rather than just reusing clones of things like peasants or orcs throughout the course of the game. Next, let's talk about the environment. Just like with the character models, the game's environments have seen a complete overhaul. Everything from the dirt roads, grassy fields, and trees have been given the next generation treatment, with more complex designs, superior texture resolution, and more advanced color palette. Structures like this tower, for example, now feature more three-dimensional detail, like stairs that previously appeared as a blurry sloped surface to the door. The towns are even more impressive, with a huge increase to the overall complexity, and a few interesting changes like this sign to Bob's Guns that has been changed into a more period-appropriate gun shop icon instead. Trees appear more natural now, with several clearly visible bunches of pine needles and a slightly higher resolution trunk. Reforged also sports much more impressive grass effects that not only sport higher resolutions, but also move realistically when character models walk through the grass sprites sticking out of the surface. The world overall feels more natural, with surfaces that offer a noticeable increase in depth and complexity, and many of the campaign levels, while still sharing the same basic premise, have seen some changes to the overall layout, with some paths being longer than others and various configurations of enemies being changed up slightly in an effort to improve the balancing. Next, let's look at the lighting. The lighting in the new Reforged version of the game is undoubtedly superior to the original, but not really by a large margin. There's still a binary day-night cycle that doesn't feature a gradual change in shadow positioning or environmental lighting, and the lighting in general just seems very basic. However, upon closer inspection, there are a few nice enhancements, including new subtle bloom effects and new reflective surfaces, especially along the metal armor of soldiers. The environments are also lit a bit more realistically, with more accurate shadows and surfaces that seem to blend together more naturally. The stone pillars along this bridge, for example, were previously colored different shades to simulate the effect of sunlight and shadow, whereas now, in the Reforged edition, the lighting appears more believably, with softer shading and shadow effects that don't appear as harsh against the background. Shadows in general have seen a nice improvement, with softer, more realistic edges, and new shadow projections for characters that previously didn't cast shadows at all. Next, let's look at a few effects. As expected, effects like fire have seen a nice bump to quality. Fire previously appeared as transparent red sprites over top of structures. It didn't look terrible for the time, but now fire effects are much more advanced, with more complex flames, smoke, and particles to really help sell the illusion. This increase in complexity can be found with every effect in the game, including buildings collapsing with more smoke and debris, and fresh corpses from enemies now appearing as three-dimensional objects, as opposed to just flat 2D sprites that slowly fade into the ground. Water also appears much better, with some nice surface simulation and superior fluid effects. And while the color doesn't appear very realistic, it's consistent with the art style of the original game, preserving the aesthetic that fans have come to expect. Finally, let's talk about the sound design. According to Blizzard, a lot of the sound in the game has been redone, including dialogue and general effects. So, now that this has been updated, which version's sound design do you prefer?
Welcome, Prince Arthas. The men and I are honored by your presence.
Can the formalities, Uther. I'm not king yet. It's good to see you.
Welcome, Prince Arthas. The men and I are honored by your presence.
Can the formalities, Uther. I'm not king yet. It's good to see you. A sound plan. Certainly.
Help! Bandits are stealing our belongings!
We'll take their coin just like everyone else's.
Those bandits stole my ledger. Without it, I will lose my entire farm.
A sound plan. Of course.
Help! Bandits are stealing our belongings!
We'll take their coin just like everyone else's.
Those bandits stole my ledger. Without it, I will lose my entire farm.
Justice has come. You are past death. Betrayal. Foul. Of course. For honor. Foul knave. For my father, the king. Of course.
And that wraps up this episode of Direct Comparison. Overall, Warcraft 3 Reforged, at least from a graphical standpoint, is a satisfying remaster of an absolute classic. It features excellent new character models, reworked environments, and enhanced effects, all of which retain the original style of the classic title. And for players who yearn to return to the original visual style of the classic game, they can simply toggle between the two modes in the visual settings in the main menu. However, this Reforged edition isn't perfect, as there have been a number of various network-related issues, along with what appears to be a removal of the custom games option for the classic visual style, an odd choice considering the mode's sandbox nature. Additionally, the remastered visuals, while certainly an improvement, do fail to live up to the promises made a few years back when Reforged was initially revealed, with less impressive character models and cinematics than what was previously shown. Still, for players looking for an excuse to return to Warcraft 3, or for players who've never had a chance to experience the game the first time around, it's still worth checking out. And hopefully, Blizzard will address some of the more frustrating issues sooner rather than later. But what do you guys think? Is Warcraft 3 Reforged a satisfying remaster, or do you wish Blizzard had done more? Let me know in the comments section. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos posted every week.